Going on, fellow A-pluses? It's your boy Adam Perez. I'm back once again with a brand new video, an impromptu video, to be quite frank with you, because I had no intentions of talking about this season of The Last of Us, but here I am. For those of you who don't know, I actually went ahead and did a season rewatch for season one leading up into season two, just as a refresher course to go ahead and get prepared for this season. Probably wrapped it up last week. So tonight was, in fact, the season two premiere, episode one of The Last of Us. And after watching the episode, I just thought to myself, I gotta talk about this. I gotta get my thoughts out there, even though I didn't do a review for season one, because the thoughts are really fresh in my head, and I thought this was just an incredible return to the status quo that is The Last of Us, just great overall, and just the amazing mind that is Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann in regards to the combination that they're able to do to adapt this video game to live action. And as somebody like myself who is not a video game player, at least for The Last of Us, this is my first time being thrusted into this world, being exposed to these characters. So what happens in the video game, I really have no idea. So I'm really going into this show really blind for the most part. And I've enjoyed absolutely every minute of it. And the way that people have talked about The Last of Us Part 2, I've been really intrigued to go ahead and get into season two of The Last of Us. And here I am. Again, I had no intentions of reviewing this season. I still don't know if I will, but episode one I felt was certainly worthy to talk about. Um, the dynamic here between Joel and Ellie is just so fascinating for me. The 5 year jump, I think, was absolutely perfect. So let's talk about this. The size and scope of the show definitely has grown. The 5 year jump, you can just see exactly how large this community has certainly grown. Even Joel looks like he's certainly aged. Ellie is now 19 years old. Perspectives, um, emotions, feelings certainly change, especially when you talk about Ellie being a teenager now in her older years. I started just thinking about my son, who's like 3 years old now, and I'm like, is this what I have to look forward to? The teenage angst kind of going forward, something that Joel himself, even when he had his own daughter, didn't quite get to, but now is experiencing what it means to be a teenager. But I love the elephant in the room here, um and the idea that consequences uh to your actions are a very real thing, and they happen in multiple ways in this episode. From the beginning, where we get to see the remainder of the Fireflies and the character Abby, who looks like she is dealing with her own stuff, and ready to exact revenge and wind up getting Joel and wanting to not only kill him, but kill him slowly. The idea that Joel didn't even think that, hey, maybe there are other survivors out there. Maybe there are other people that have been a part of the Fireflies that just never came back. And here they are, having to come back to a grave site, and which was in its own right really shocking to kind of see. These were all people once. These were all people that Joel sort of put down in the sense of trying to save Ellie, as he kind of explains it to his therapist here in this episode. And now the past is here to haunt him. It's coming for him on two fronts. One from one front that's going to completely blind him in the response of Abby coming to the town here within the next episode or two, for all I know. And he's clearly still dealing with it at home. There's clearly more going on with Ellie instead of just sort of teenage angst here. There is a part of me that believes that she knows exactly what Joel did and knows that Joel is lying to her. I do question whether or not, like, because I don't think this is explained in the season finale of season one. But I wonder if Marlene and them explained to Ellie what was going to happen. I wonder if they explained to her, like, hey, by us doing this, your life is now forfeit, right? And I do wonder if it's something that Ellie kind of embraced, knew that she was going to die, but was okay with it. But once Joel finds out about the idea as to what this surgery really includes, he winds up saving her, unbeknownst to him, though, that maybe Ellie is fully aware as to what was supposed to go down that day at the hospital, and only for her to wake up and see that things clearly went drastically wrong, that she's still with Joel. I think she knows something happened and knows that he's lying to her. And the fact that we get to see that brief interaction with him towards the end of the finale repeated in here, where he swears to her, this brief silence and this simple okay before leaving, really unsettling. So there's a part of me that believes Ellie not only knows what Joel did, but that she might have even been aware as to the circumstances of the cost to her life in order to get this vaccine. And I think because she survived through this, on the other side, and the Fireflies don't, I think she understands exactly what it is that Joel did. Now, so I do think while she understands that, there is clearly another part of her that as she gets older certainly wants to be protected, like not protected, that doesn't want to be protected by him, that clearly wants to be her own person and not be so dependent on him. But also maybe if she knows the truth, why would she want to be protected by him anymore, knowing what the cost could possibly be to anybody else, right? And I think for me, when I watch this episode, it's so crazy to me watching this episode, because there's a part of me that feels for Joel. And when he protects her on New Year's Eve, or New Year's, that New Year's night, and pushes the old man to the ground because he winds up calling her and Dina dyke in here, a part of me was like, yeah, now Ellie's gonna understand that he's there to just protect her and things are gonna be better, right? She's gonna see that Joel is still there, and it goes horribly wrong. Like, it goes in a completely different direction that I honestly did not expect. And you get to see that things are just much more dire than I even considered, to be honest with you. There's a great scene, Catherine O'Hara in here, who's already just a marvelous actress, but I'm so glad that they wind up getting her as the therapist in here. There's a line that she says that just spoke to me in here, and I could be butchering the line a little bit, but she says something along the lines of, the truth can't be revealed unless you're brave enough to say it out loud. And first off, I am a big advocate for mental health. I am a big advocate for people getting therapy and seeking help, because we do live in a world where it is difficult, and our mental health needs to be right. And I have had my own therapist before in the past. Fatherhood is certainly not easy. I think we all go through our own trials and tribulations and trying to figure out how to navigate through certain things in life. And I did have my therapist say something very similar to me, in the sense of challenging me to have tough conversations that I don't want to have. Because sometimes it's really difficult to see yourself in a certain light through other people's eyes. And to be able to say things that need to be said can be difficult sometimes, because one, you don't want to face yourself in those moments, but you also don't want to see how other people kind of view you or respond to you. And so there is a thing of having a difficulty speaking truth to light, and holding on to things a little bit more, but understanding that once you put it out there, once you face those difficult questions, those difficult conversations, those difficult truths, not only is that burden sort of lifted off of you, but it's out there now, and you have to sort of deal with it. And I love the fact that the therapist in here gives the perfect example of it, and does it herself to prove to Joel that despite how she feels, she's putting the truth out there. She's speaking it to truth, being brave enough. And now that's a burden sort of off of her shoulders. And I love the fact that she now challenges Joel to kind of do the same thing. And it's fascinating to see Joel's response to it in a sense of, I saved her. And yes, in some regards, that is true. But I literally just felt this a couple weeks ago when I watched the finale of season 1, a disappointment in Joel. The fact that he literally killed people in cold blood in order to protect somebody, and making decisions for her. And the fact that he can't come to terms to that, and he just looks at it in the sense of, I've saved her, is really fascinating to me. So I really love the psychological perspective of what they're doing here for somebody like Joel. For him to, I know he sees the truth and understands what he's done, but it is a whole nother dilemma to be truthful with yourself and be self-aware enough to actually admit it. And I think it's a big elephant in the room that's still there, that is causing a lot of this. And now he's seen the consequences, certainly, to his actions once again. So I thought this episode was brilliant in that regards, but I also thought it was brilliant just from not only the intensity, but some of the directing choices in here, especially when it comes to the revealing to us of this brand new clicker, or I don't know what they really call them in here. Honestly, they had a more scientific name for it, but I can't pronounce it off the top of my head. But the fact that this clicker is not so much a clicker anymore, they're very much silent. They stalk. I love the shot selection of having Ellie walk down the aisle, but then in the distance, just as she gets past the aisle, the clicker kind of crawls into frame on a couple of occasions, right? Where it's just chilling in the background as she's looking at a magazine, and it winds up scurrying off screen. And then the two or three occasions where she goes through the aisles, and just as she gets to the next aisle, you see the other one kind of creeping around the corner, sort of thing, just following her and stuff. Great intensity, great choice of how to film that. I almost gave like an audible shock when I come to find out that it was hiding, as it scurries back around the corner and Ellie chases after it. The fact that it went and hid is absolutely terrifying to me. Definitely a great jump scare of it coming out of the corner, coming around the corner to go ahead and attack Ellie. The fact that Ellie turns around and shoots the shotgun and that's not there anymore, I'm just thinking, oh my God. But it does go to show, not only have these characters evolved over 5 years, not only has this group evolved over 5 years, but like every virus, there is some level of mutation and growth if it's not sort of contained also. So I thought it was marvelous in regards to the introduction to this new clicker, or this new stalker. I don't know what they're going to certainly refer to them as, but it is also a case of, I love the fact that there's a council. I love the fact that this has been brought to the council's attention. I mean, it is New Year's Eve. There's a part of me that was kind of hoping they would come up with a plan before New Year's. Seems like maybe their actions or their delaying actions might certainly cost them. And when we open up this episode 2 and the guy opens up the pipe and it's just a bunch of roots, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, bro, why are you shaking that? Like, why are you shaking those right now? Because it clearly looks like those are like fungus lines that could be reaching back to just anybody at this point. Like, you could be literally be waking up something miles away. Like, why is the guy just rustling them around and things like that? Nothing happened all episode until you see the flare kind of get dropped next to a bunch of roots, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, guys, didn't we learn anything from the past 5 years? But maybe times have been different over these past 5 years. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this episode. Isabel Mercade as Dina, I think, is a really great addition to this episode in this season. There's a level of like when Nico Parker kind of came on this scene in the first episode of season 1, I thought to myself, like, man, she's a really good actor. Like, I really enjoy her involvement in this first episode. Like, I can tell that her character was going to be monumental. I didn't know she was only going to last one episode in that season, because I thought she was going to have a much bigger role throughout the season than what we did. Like, I was like, yes, she seems like she's going to be a really great character, being the daughter of Joel. It's sort of the same feeling that I have for Dina, in the sense of, at least I know she's going to be around for a few episodes this season. But she's got really great chemistry, it feels like, with everybody, whether that be Joel and this fascination that she has with him, along with her connection here with Ellie. I think is absolutely brilliant too. So the fact that they seem like a great kind of duo. Ellie definitely makes me laugh in here. One of the great scenes that I love is when they go inside the building and they take out their knives instead of their guns, and she starts like pretending to like stab herself and things like that. Just an absolute clown, but it definitely makes me laugh. There is that level of like bravado and arrogance that I think comes with like being a teenager, of just thinking you're invulnerable sort of thing, and you don't have to take orders from anybody. That is kind of annoying to me. That kind of like irks me a little bit. And again, I just kept thinking about my son, like, dude, if I have a feel like, is my son gonna act like this? But I think like we all act like that at some particular point in time in our teenage years, sort of thing, of being invulnerable and invincible. And I guess for Ellie, that is her case. With her being immune, she almost feels like nothing can kind of harm her. Yes, she can certainly still die, but I think knowing that you're safe in some aspects is probably why she's a little bit loose with how she takes it, or how she listens to authority type of thing. But that idea of like, don't tell me what to do, I can do it on my own, I don't need you to protect me, that's definitely a level of teenage angst there for sure. But when it comes to Joel, there is definitely more than just that when it comes to these two, and I honestly cannot wait to see how it unfolds. But from a directing standpoint, beautiful scenery, the scope is huge. It was really cool to see Tommy and his family. I almost forgot that his wife was pregnant, so to kind of see this 5-year-old come in and call Joel Uncle Joel kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, what? But it made perfect sense at the end of the day. But man, really great first episode to a season. And I love the idea that they tackle the idea of mental health, facing the truth, um, and that every action that we take certainly has a level of consequences to it here also. I am fascinated by Eugene, the therapist's husband. The fact that they brought that up and we haven't been introduced to him before. I wonder if we'll get like a flashback sequence or like an episode depicting it at some point in time. But I would assume something occurred to why Joel certainly had to do it. But it's definitely didn't sit right with the therapist in the way in which he certainly did. So I'm hoping that that's a story that gets fleshed out a little bit more. But overall, man, really great start. Love the drama, love the tension, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to episode 2. We'll see if I continue with these reviews, but I just had to talk about episode 1 for sure so far. But look, I want to know your A+ opinions. These are mine. I want to know yours. Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. But until next time, guys, do me a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.